Hey, people, you are locked into mental health and music. As you know, my special guest is Shocka. Hello, Shocka.
What's going on? I'm here. Finally.
Finally, if you
Finally.
guys knew the journey to get here, I'm
Trust
so
me.
happy to have him sitting in front of
Yes,
me.
I'm here.
So we're going to get on with it. But first, as I mentioned, you're an author.
Yep.
I've got your book in front of me, A Section of My Life.
Yes, looking crispy.
Pristine. Look at this.
I was impressed by the condition it's in.
Oh, I had to look after it.
Yeah,
Had to.
appreciate
So
it.
you wrote this when you were in hospital under section.
Yes, I started it when I was in
You
hospital.
started it, and that was the third or fourth section.
Fourth.
Fourth. So the first time you were sectioned,
Yes.
what was your fear based on? Was it based on the not knowing where you're going, or the reactions of the people around you?
Ooh, that's a good question. Um, both.
Both.
See, my mum, there was a bit where like my mum went into the kitchen and just started, just broke down and started crying.
Oh.
Yeah. And then, but I was already in my psychosis.
Yeah.
But like, I saw a glimpse of that. You know, like certain stuff are happening and
Yeah.
you're catching it. I saw a glimpse of that. And then, I mentioned this in the book actually. My neighbor tried to calm me down. And I think my mom came to try to calm me down and I pushed her.
Yeah, I remember that bit
I
in there.
mentioned
But
that, yeah. I pushed her and like she fell to her knees.
Yeah.
And that snapped me out of it a bit.
And you were like, hey, what's going
I
on?
was like, shit.
Yeah.
Because like I'll never ever do, you know what I mean? That snapped me out of it, but like, and then I went back into like the psychosis mode.
Yeah.
And my neighbor was like, what the fuck are you doing? And that scared me because my neighbor's calm.
Yeah.
He don't swear. He's not like that. So for me to hear him that I was thinking, raw, like, what did I do to get you so at that level? And then the ambulance ride was scary too because you got your mum there. I think my neighbor was with me if I remember correctly. And you don't know where you're going.
Do they?
You don't know if you're going. No one said nothing. They don't say like, "Oh, we're taking." They just put you in.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And even if they do tell you they're taking you to a mental health hospital, you still don't know what to expect. It's your first time, so you don't know what is that? What is that?
Yeah.
What does that even look? Do you know what I mean? What is that? For me as well, coming from Tottenham, having no education on mental health. My education just came in the last 10 years. Prior to that, I knew nothing about.
Wow.
Someone came up to me and said bipolar. I'm like, huh?
Yeah.
Someone came up to me and said schizophrenia. I'd be like, huh? Someone came up to me and said manic depression. I'd be like, well, the depression part I know.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that's something that we all know what depression is.
Yeah.
At certain ages, that word just comes into our vocabulary. But the rest of it, I had no idea.
Yeah. I feel you because before I lived with anxiety, I had no idea what that was.
Yeah.
You get that nervous feeling about things. But when it gets to a level of anxiety, you're like, you don't know that before. So it's completely alien to you.
Yeah.
When you get to the hospital, when is it that it happens that you're sectioned, so to speak? Like, what is the process? Do you know? And at what point do you realize that you're not going anywhere?
When you see other patients.
Okay.
That's when you know, like, you've been inducted. Like,
Yeah.
you're on the ward.
Inducted.
That's how you know you've been inducted. Like, you're on the ward. When you see other patients,
you're like,
then
I know where I am.
Yeah, this is, and that's the part that wakes you up.
Yeah.
Because you start thinking, right, like,
why am I here?
yeah, who are you lot? Why am I here?
Yeah.
When you're in the room by yourself,
Yeah.
the psychosis is heavy because it's just you.
Yeah.
And all these thoughts are running through your head. But when they take you onto the ward and you start seeing other patients, that's when you start thinking, hey, who are you? Who's that?
Yeah.
Why is he behaving like? What is happening here? It's like can I swear?
Yes, you can.
It's like a mind fuck.
Yeah.
It's like, what is happening? That's the only thing most people can relate. That's what you're saying to yourself. What's going on is what you're saying to yourself 50 times.
Do you
What's
almost
going on?
feel like you don't belong there?
Yes, that's how I felt.
Yeah.
That's how I felt.
Because you're looking at other people thinking, I'm not.
Yes, and
like
especially
them.
my history.
Yeah.
That was like it was like a big ego shock for me.
Yeah.
That's
Humbling.
where the ego, it was humbling.
Yeah.
That's where the ego death started.
Okay.
Because like,
Yeah.
I'm thinking I'm Shocka from Marvel. I was just with Drake and Rihanna and all these people. Why
Yeah.
am I with you guys? I'm still looking at them like, you guys.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, we both don't have mental health issues we're dealing with. I'm still separating us. And like, it took me the third time to actually start looking at patients like we're both patients.
Wow.
Each time I was still looking at them like I'm me and
I'm not one of you.
Yeah, I'm not one of you. Do you know
Yeah.
what I mean? So that happens, and then you try leave. I tried to leave, and I got rushed by doctors,
Oh my
and
God.
then I felt them inject me in my leg, and then I don't know what happened after that, but I woke up in this room with like no clothes.
Oh my God.
And then my mum was like looking at me through this like flap on the door, just trying to calm me down, because I was like running into the door, and like it's pretty crazy to imagine because I'm like this now, but
You're so
you just
chilled.
got to picture it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I was running to the door, and yeah, it was scary. And I've never been injected since. I'd learnt my lesson. I knew like do not fight with the nurses.
Yeah.
Some people get injected over and over again, but like that was the last time I ever got injected by a nurse. So even got into an altercation with nurses.
Yeah.
From that point on, the nurses started calling me the patient that doesn't come out of his room.
Oh wow.
I used to
Okay.
just stay in my room.
Yeah.
That was the only way I knew that I'm going to be able to come out of this situation level-headed. Because it's one of those, it's a world in itself.
Yeah.
And if you keep mingling with patients and going out, you just get lost. Well, for me, that's how I felt. I don't know about for anyone else, but for me, I felt like if I don't stay in this room and I keep coming out, and do you know what I mean? I'm not going to make it out of here in one piece. So like, I remember the nurses used to always knock on my door. I'm like, hey, what are you doing in there? And I'd just have my headphones on. Oh, they're like, he's got his headphones. He's doing. They'll come check on you like every 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, well, they'll tell you it's lunchtime and you have to come out.
Yeah.
If I could bring the food to my room, I would have. But like,
Was there a fear there of stepping out of that room?
yes, there was, man. Because like, I encountered so many weird things, and so like I mentioned to you when I said, going on a ward is scary.
Yeah.
And that's just going on the ward to visit.
Yeah.
Imagine staying there. Like that person you see on the street that's talking to themselves.
Yeah.
Or like behaving funny. You just drive past them and you feel a bit scared. Or you might see them at the bus stop and move to across the road.
Yep.
That person was my next door.
Your neighbour.
That was my neighbour.
Yeah.
When we all come out for breakfast in the morning, we're on the same table. And they're banging on the table and I'm trying to eat. That was, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, it's scary, man.
I
And
can
like,
imagine.
I was only there for 2.5 weeks. That's the longest I've ever stayed there. And I always said to myself, like, anything longer than that, a week extra, I would have not been the same person. So when I meet people that say I was there for like 6 months, or I was there for a year,
Yeah.
you can see it though.
You can
Do you
see
know
it
what I mean?
on them.
You
Yeah.
can see it on them.
Yeah.
Like I can see someone that's, if you lined up 4 people and told me pick the one that's been sectioned before,
Yeah.
I could tell you,
Wow.
because I've now got that kind of,
Yeah.
do you know what I mean? I've got that sixth sense now. I can see it in people. Like I'll be on the train, I'm like, obviously I can't talk to the person, but I know you've like,
Yeah.
do you know
They
what I
don't
mean?
come out the same.
Yeah, there's an aura, there's an energy that like,
It's
can see.
catch-22, isn't it? Because that's meant to be the best place for you, but it can go the other way.
yes.
It can be detrimental.
That's why I
you
want to
as
know
well.
the success rate.
Yes.
I'm always trying to find out, like,
Yeah.
what is the success? How many
People leave and don't go back. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
like go on to do things, because like I speak about that in the book too.
Yeah.
When at the healing stages, where I was trying to find like examples of people that's been sectioned as much times as me and gone on to like
Do
you know
great
make
things.
something of, and I couldn't find any. Not saying they're not out there, but I just couldn't see it.
There's no like record of
There's no record.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And everyone that I could see that's been sectioned, they used to come to me like slyly in my DMs and say, you know that post you made? I've been through it too. I was at this hospital.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? Meaning that if I never had made that post,
Yeah.
I would have never known.
They wouldn't have said anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think that's shame?
It is all shame.
Yeah.
Hence why I've got this purpose and this fire in my stomach,
Mm.
because I realised that I need to eradicate that shame. Maybe not completely in my lifetime. Someone's gonna I'll pass the baton on to the next person that's gonna, you know, do their piece. But like that shame needs to get broken down, because that is the reason.
Yeah.
And I understand why that shame is there, because the shame came from the stigma around mental health in our parents' generation.
Yep.
Was they're cursed or they're evil.
Yep.
Or do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that shame and that label of it, if someone comes out now and says I'm sectioned, the first thing they're gonna say is like, what happened to you, or what's going on in your bloodline, or do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And no one wants to face those questions. So I would rather just go through that experience and pretend like nothing happened.
Yeah.
But I don't know what happened to me, but I just thought, fuck it, I'm going for it.
Yeah.
And then I know what happened to me. Obviously, I had like the whole church experience that I went through and saying, how can I help? And
we're going to talk about that.
yeah, well, listen, you're letting me talk. You're not asking me the question.
No, I'm listening. This is
go
amazing. Go
Yeah.
on, you can. Be my guest, man. So when obviously you were Section 4 times.
Yes.
Did you experience the same triggers and warning signs before each time, or is it something different every time for you?
Oh, that's a good question. I think it's the same triggers, but different things triggered it.
Okay, yeah.
But it's the same feeling and the same kind of...
Yeah.
But I arrived at that feeling in different ways, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But it's the same feeling every time. It's that feeling of like, I can't describe the feeling to you. Someone's got to have to find a way to... Some scientist has got to explain like, this is what he's talking about. But other patients will know what I mean.
I get it.
There's a feeling, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
There's a feeling. It's a horrible feeling.
It is a horrible
if I could
feeling.
bottle it and give it to someone to drink, they'll be traumatized.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's a horrible feeling.
So what's the typical day like on a ward? Obviously, you're telling me that you were inside, but is there like therapy? Is there groups that you're meant to sit in?
That's a good question.
Or...
Typical day on a ward. It's actually boring.
Okay.
You do nothing. It's similar to jail. The way it looks.
Yeah.
The way it feels. I think I did an interview... since I came out of hospital the last time, I did an interview and I spoke about who I need to talk to change how it looks. But I found this Instagram page called Hospital Rooms. I don't know if you know who they are.
No.
There's an Instagram page called Hospital Rooms, and they go into mental health hospitals and redesign it and make it colourful.
Wow.
They're sick. I posted them on my page, and I've been following them, and they're proper sick.
I remember in the book, again, when you said, I think you got section, maybe it was the 4th time, and you said you went to a newer hospital, and as soon as you walked in, the vibe was completely different, and you felt better there than you did in the other wards that were
not
really
saying
old.
That's the complete solution, but it helps.
Yeah.
It just makes you feel like you're not a prisoner.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Or you've done something wrong. So a typical day, you wake up, they knock on your door in the morning for breakfast. You have breakfast in the facility I was in anyway. And this is a new facility, so God knows what's happening in the old ones. Wow. In the new facility, they had these like gym bikes outside and like table tennis, and they had computers, so you can probably go on YouTube, Facebook, whatever you want to do. And that's about it. You can't go outside until you're at a certain level of wellness. Then you can go for a little stroll around your area. And even that, it's not by yourself. I think some patients that's been there for long can go by themselves because they're trusted. But you have to go with like a nurse. I chose not to leave once because I was like, if I leave once, it's going to like spark my excitement about the outside world again. I'm going to come back thinking about it. So I was like, just let me know when I'm getting discharged and then I'll see the outside. But if not, I'm just going to stay in here. But a typical day is really boring. You do nothing. And that's what was driving me insane, because I spoke about it in the book.
Yeah.
I used to just walk up and down. And I'm like that. If you're with me, because there's chairs here, obviously, give me like 20 minutes. I'll just start walking up and down.
Yeah.
And I always think to myself, is my subconscious still in the corridors?
Yeah.
Because I just walk up and down.
Wow.
Yeah, that's all I did.
A question I don't think has been... I don't have any of my guests answer this.
Yeah.
When you were unwell, what are the sorts of things that you couldn't do? And I'll give you an example. Like, I'll give you an example for me. Like when I was at the height of anxiety, I couldn't speak.
I couldn't speak either.
But couldn't. And that sounds really weird. People are like, what do you mean you can't speak? Like I couldn't form coherent sentences. It was just babbling and crying. There was no sense whatsoever.
I know exactly what you're talking about. I couldn't speak. And my DJ said that to me. It's funny you mentioned that. Did I mention that in the book? No, I didn't. I can't know because I was out by the time. My DJ said, your auntie said you wasn't talking.
Okay.
And I'm talkative.
Yeah.
So that's frightening for my family. But it's not like, now I think back on it, it's not like I didn't want to speak.
You couldn't.
I couldn't.
Yeah.
I was talking though. In my head, I was at war.
Yeah.
I was having a full-blown conversation. I just couldn't get it out.
Yeah.
And I wasn't safe enough to know if like what's going on in my head. I wanted to say, like, it's crazy. But like, it's like you're on mute. I couldn't talk. I'm definitely lucky that every time I've had a breakdown, someone's been with me.
That is lucky.
I'm so lucky. I couldn't imagine being in that situation completely by myself.
I remember you feeling that you had to hold it together
Yes.
until
to
you
get
got
back
home.
to safety, yes.
You didn't want to break down in public, and you could feel it coming. I likened it to disassociation.
Yes.
So you're on the bus, you're coming from somewhere, and you can feel everything just slipping away from you, and you're like, all right, I've got to hold it in.
I used to dissociate a lot
till I've got home.
It's minimized a lot now, and I'm so happy about that. But there was a period where I was dissociating a lot, especially outside. It's frightening. But yeah, that what you mentioned about not wanting to have a breakdown in public, that's always been my biggest fear because of this generation. I know, and because of who I am, I know that'll be on every blog page. Oh my God, Shocka for Marvel. Look, like, it's crazy. And like, people are relentless on the internet.
They are.
There's no mercy.
Especially the youth with their phones and their TikTok and whatnot. It's like
the comments and like, yes, it's a scary thing. And I met someone that had a breakdown and he went viral. A guy called Infector. I don't know if you remember. He was on a train. Do you remember that? And he had headphones in and he was singing to himself and shouting.
No.
I don't know if you saw that. But
How long ago was that?
That was a few years back.
Oh no.
Yeah.
That's like the worst thing to do to someone in their state of mind, and it's like, wow.
Yeah.
Poor thing, man. So you got a diagnosis of manic depression.
That was my first diagnosis.
And then you got schizophrenia.
Paranoid schizophrenia.
Paranoid schizophrenia. How did you feel when you first heard that? Is that, did it bring you any peace, or did it just bring you fear and shame?
Oh, that's a good question. I kind of separate myself from the diagnosis. I think that's why I do so well. There's like a, I can't explain it. It's like there's an acceptance of it. As in like, this is what I've got. And this is what I've got on paper, and this is what I've got. But there's like another identity underneath it. Like, I'm like, I can't, there's like, so there's Kenneth. Let me put it this way.
We're going to speak about this,
There's Kenneth that has schizophrenia and has been sectioned 4 times. Then there's Shocka though.
Who's solved the problem.
Who's solving the problem. So Shocka will be here like doing the interviews and doing the podcast and talking about it and trying to get my head around what they've just told me Kenneth has got. So Kenneth is like, Shocka's like Kenneth's older brother. Do you know what I mean? That goes through with it. Like, nah, don't worry about it, man. I know you're down about it, but this is what we're going to do. And like, so it's like my alter ego kind of, in a sense. And it's helped me a lot. Because I feel like if it was just Kenneth and I never had this Shocka identity or like this Shocka brand that I'm living, it would have been a difficult life for me. It would have been so different.
I've got a friend, Nikki Acute, who says to me, when I used to talk to her about anxiety, I used to say, oh, my anxiety or my anxiety. She'd be like, why are you calling it that? It's not yours. Don't label it as something that you are. Separate yourself from it, but accept it. But don't call it my this, my that. You shouldn't do that.
She's got it. How is she now? How is she?
She's fine,
I'm sure she is. That is the right way to like go about it.
That really, really helped, I think, noticing that you're attaching yourself to something. And then it brings up all these labels in your head of what you should be and shouldn't be and how you're coping and whatnot. What was the response from other people around you when you found out your diagnosis, or even like dealing with psychosis?
My friends were proper cool. They helped me a lot. They helped me so much because they didn't overreact or make me feel weird. And I always mention that. I always say, like, make sure you don't make the person that's gone through it feel like, I don't want to come around you lot because you're going to highlight it. And that's one thing my parents and aunties did. They made me feel like they had their eyes on me. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'll go to the kitchen and my mum will come and see.
They're waiting for something.
And it makes you feel odd. But it's like, my friends joked about it. I remember my friend Dundee, like, pick up my boy Dundee. As soon as he saw me, he looked in my eyes and he was like, oh yeah, he's still in there. And we just laughed.
I don't know if I was meant to laugh. I'm sorry.
And we laughed. And he was like, because he kept saying, because the whole area heard about it, because I'm popular in my area. So everyone heard, oh my God, yeah, Shocka got section. Yeah, what happened to Shocka? And Dundee kept saying, when I see Shocka, I'm going to look in his eyes and I'll know if we've lost him or if it's real. Just let me see him first. Obviously, everyone's saying what they're saying. Let me see him. Then when I saw Dundee, I remember it was outside KFC, I think it was. And he looked at me and he was like, yeah. And we both started busting up and he was like, yeah, Shocka's cool. Even my mum brought one of my friends on a visit, which was crazy now I think about it. because I didn't want no one to see me.
I was going to say, did you want to see them? Yeah.
No, I didn't want no one to see me in that state. That's the most vulnerable state you can be in. And like my mum came and I saw someone with her, and it was one of my good friends. And then as soon as we saw each other, we just bursted out laughing. And he was like, he didn't say it to my mum, but later on we spoke. Now we speak recently in the chat. He was like, "Yeah, I knew you was good."
Oh.
He was like, "If you didn't laugh,
Yeah.
then like there's a problem."
Yeah.
I think the laughing thing is the signal to my friends, because I'm such a comedian. Once I lose my humor, then they know like
something's wrong.
We've lost him completely.
Yeah.
But because that was still intact, it's like something has happened, but he ain't lost that yet.
Is it helpful to have friends who know you that well so they can spot signs
100%.
and be like, okay,
100%.
he's not
Because
right?
they're the ones that kind of helped me in hindsight when I was trying to reflect back to see my steps and how I got here. Their comments is what I used to think back on to see where I was at. Like my friend, you know, the one that I said came to hospital with my mum?
Yes.
He was telling me I'll be in the back of the car and I'll be like preaching about all these things. And, like, pointing out stuff like, look at this and look at that. And like, he just look at me through the rearview mirror like, bro, what is going on with you? And like, I know what phase I was at when he's saying that. I was reading so much, which I mentioned in the book.
Yeah.
I was reading so much. I had a friend called Whitney, and like, she got me so much books and like, so my head was all over the place that time. So they kind of make me, so you need to have friends. Because if he didn't know me, he wouldn't have saw that behavior strange.
Yeah, true.
He would just thought, okay. But because he knew me so well, he knew now something's up.
Yeah.
When did you start talking about the universe or like extraterrestrials or like, what do you know about this? You're like, you're just Shocka that loves music. When did this start?
Yeah.
What do you know about frequencies and like, what's going on? So like, your friends need to have a close eye on you, like, because they will be able to tell. Because you won't necessarily be able to tell.
Yeah.
I think we're the last persons to analyze ourselves.
Yeah.
That comes much later.
Yeah.
But like you
and
won't
after
know.
the fact.
And after the fact.
Yeah.
It's our parents and stuff that like, know you and like know what side of the bed you sleep on and where you put your toothbrush. And my mum knows like I got a what's the thing in the bathroom? The shower, is it the shower curtain? Whatever they call it, yeah. When I finish bathing, I leave it on the left side. And I didn't realise that. I used to just come out and not realise that.
Yeah.
And my mum would be like, so when I haven't bathed, my mum would be like, you haven't bathed today. And we'll be getting in a full-blown argument.
She'd be like, the shower curtain's
not on the left. Like, he has no idea. My mum would be like, I know you haven't because the shower curtain's on the left. And then when I'm on my way upstairs after the argument and I go to the bathroom and I look at her, I'm like, shit.
She does know.
She does, do you know what I mean? So like some people, your friends normally know you better than you know yourself.
So that's how they view you. But how did you view yourself when you were unwell?
At that time?
Yeah. Did you have a sense of
I didn't know. The only time it really hit me was the sleepless nights. I wasn't sleeping well. And I knew something was up, but I didn't know what it was. But like I think everyone's gone through that. When you're going through your psychosis, like everyone's gone through those nights you just can't sleep. Or you sleep and you're waking up really early. Yeah. Like 4 a.m, 3 a.m, consistently.
Tired, but still awake.
And you're up, still awake. Like that was when I started realizing. And then when I had the big breakdown, that was like clear to me. That's why I tried to rush home. I went to my friend's house, which I mentioned in the book. I went to my friend's house and I was talking to him about like indigo children and all the stuff that I was reading up about. And he said something that triggered me. He was like, do you believe in that stuff? And I don't know why that hit me so hard, but it made me feel like it was another way of him saying, are you going crazy? Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was like, rah. And then like, I just left his house, and from then, that was the last time I saw daylight. Wow. Got home, had breakdown, and then from there to hospital. Yeah. And that was like the beginning of a 10-year journey.
10 years, it's a long time.
10 years, maybe more. Yeah. That was 2012, so maybe more than 10 years.
So do they obviously they give you this diagnosis of what you've got and whatnot, and they try to medicate you. Yeah. Now, you didn't take to medication very
While I was in there, I did, because you ain't got a choice.
Yeah.
If you refuse medication, you're never getting out.
But when you came out, you were like,
when I came out, I was like trying to like, I'll not take it and I won't tell no one. Yeah. But they'll know. Yeah. Like, it's
the first thing they say, you taking your medication?
Yeah, my mum used to, because I'll be up. I stay upstairs. My mum stays downstairs. My medication is in the cupboard downstairs, and I have to take it every night. So I have to come downstairs past my mum to take it. So
she doesn't see you. She's
so
like,
if I don't come down,
Yeah.
so sometimes I'll push it till like 2. Then my mum will WhatsApp me from downstairs saying it's 2:00. Come and take your thing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or sometimes I'll forget. I might sleep early.
Yeah.
And I'll see bare messages, and my mum will come up, wake me up, and say you haven't. So my mum wouldn't sleep until I've come down to take it.
Oh.
So what I used to do, I used to come down, pretend like I'm taking it, and go back upstairs.
Okay.
So everyone thought I was taking it.
Yeah.
So then when I have the breakdown, that's when they realize, oh,
You wasn't taking it.
Wasn't taking it.
Yeah. So what's your relationship with medication like at the moment?
Love it. Love it. We're like best friends. I've learned my lesson. It took me 4 sectioners to learn my lesson.
Yeah.
I take it I'm even scared not to take it.
Yeah.
And don't forget now, my mum's not around.
Yeah.
Dad's not around. Live by myself. Don't
Yeah.
have my auntie.
It's
so like
just-
it's on me.
Yeah.
If I don't take it, it's really scary because if I have that breakdown now,
There's no one around you.
there's no one around me. So like
You need
I
to
take it willingly. No one
Yeah.
tells me to take it. So I miss a days. I don't know if I can say that on here with doctors and aunties and whoever might see this, but I'm just being transparent. There is days where I
Yeah.
miss like 1 or 2 days.
Yeah.
But that's the max. I've never missed like more than 3-4 days or like a week.
Yeah.
No.
So it's good.
Yeah, we're good.
What do you think of people who are anti-medication?
I get it. I understand it. Especially in 2024, there's all these different solutions to things now. There's CMOS and do you know what I mean? There's all these different things you can take that people want to take. So I get it, but
I'm just imagining someone saying, "Don't take that rubbish the doctor's giving you. Have a teaspoon of sea moss.
do you know
You'll
what
be
I mean?
fine."
There's all these things now. There's all these stuff that you can take, which I get it. There's more information, but like, I'm old school, man. Like, if it does work, then we'll see what happens if I find an alternative, but I haven't found an alternative, and this
I
is working
agree.
for me. Everyone's different.
Yeah.
Some people, medication, they have like side effects.
Yeah.
I have no side. Like in the beginning, I did. I had
Yeah.
like big. I was putting on weight.
Yeah.
And like that's what scared. Those are the things that were scaring me. I was putting on weight, and I was on a high dosage.
Yeah.
So I felt like I'm gonna be zombied for like the rest of my life.
Yeah.
But the dosage I'm on now is low. I'm on like 3 milligrams, 3 or 2, which is really low. You can barely feel it.
Yeah.
And then there's no side effects really. So it depends. I think everyone's relationship with medication is different.
Yeah.
What I would say is that I think what scares people is that they feel like they're going to be on the medication for their whole life.
Yeah.
I feel like don't look at it like that. Look at it like this is just a step.
This is what you need right
Once
now.
I get back to myself, then
Yeah.
I can come off it. Look
Yeah,
at it like
yeah.
that. But if you look at it forever,
Yeah.
then it'll scare you.
Yeah. You seem like you got a pretty good support network.
Yes.
Pretty decent support network.
Yeah, definitely.
I know this.
Because everyone knows my story is documented.
Yeah.
So everyone kind of treats me accordingly, which is good. It's harder when people don't know. So then you got
Okay.
to like duck and dive and say I'm
Yeah.
taking my medication or should I? Everyone knows.
Yeah.
Like if I go on holiday, I went somewhere with someone recently, one of my friends, and they was, where did we go? Was it Finland? I think with Selena or something like that. And he was like, "Have you taken the medication with you?" This is my friend saying.
And you're
it.
like, right, okay.
And that felt good because I
Yeah.
had nothing to hide.
Yeah, yeah,
the
yeah.
reasons why I was having those breakdowns before is because I
You were
didn't
trying
want
to
to.
hide
Yeah,
it.
exactly.
Yeah.
So now they're even telling me, nah, they'll make sure I take my. So everything's all good.
Yeah. I like that. It's nice
Yeah.
that you can have friends that look out for you,
Yeah. for
your
sure.
well-being, not just getting at you,
Yeah.
but saying,
definitely.
hey, we're looking out for you.
Yeah.
Do you know, I like this quote from your book, and I'll tell you why I
Yes.
like it. It says, I had a shocking revelation that I was the reason for most of my problems.
Yes.
And I like that
Yes.
because not because you were the reason for most of your problems, but you were able to acknowledge that
Yes.
and realize that you had a lot of power to change a lot of things. Because some
Yes.
people feel
Yes.
powerless when they're unwell.
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely. And that statement was more to like the kind of character I was
Yeah.
during the times of my first breakdown.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really like myself as a person.
Mm.
I wasn't infatuated with myself at all.
Mm-hmm.
It looked like it though, because I was like a star and like doing music, and everyone thought, oh, he must be really happy.
Mm-hmm.
But like I knew the kind of thoughts I was, no one knows yourself better than
No,
you.
exactly.
So I knew the kind of thoughts I had, and I
Mm-hmm.
knew some of the mistakes I made, as I mentioned in the book, like with Double S and his girlfriend,
Mm-hmm.
just little mistakes and like little things that I'd done that like I wasn't quite happy, man. I wasn't really happy. So like that's what I meant by like me bringing most of my problems upon myself.
And what
But
is
like
it?
I'm so happy that like I was mature enough to realize that and make the adjustment.
Yeah.
And I think I made the adjustment because of the people I started looking up to. That's why it's important to have good reference points. The people I started looking up to, they had morals and principles and certain ways they carry themselves. And like, then I got the Bob Marley tattoo on my shoulder. And I was like, even though it doesn't matter, I'm sure his family don't know who I am or don't care, but just for my own peace of mind, I was like, if I'm going to have someone like that on my shoulder, someone that was so principled and moral and had such a beautiful heart and helped the world, if I'm going to have someone like that on my shoulder, I might as well represent in the right way.
For real.
And that kind of started like adjusting. That's what made me reflect on myself. And I was like, oh, I'm so far from the mark.
Yeah.
Like, this person is, not saying he's perfect, but like,
he's up there.
Such a righteous. And I'm like a wrong'un. So I was like, I need to like bridge that gap. So I started putting in the work. And like, I'm still putting in the work till today, but like a lot of ground has been covered. I'm a completely different person to like.
What is that first step? If I'm sitting in front of
what
you.
I said, the first step is acknowledging it.
Acknowledging it.
Some people don't even know. They're just walking around thinking they're the shit. Not knowing that like, you're like far off. Some people don't even know. I think the first step is acknowledging like, I'm not really the person that I want to be.
That's hard, isn't it?
What? I was having breakdowns and sleepless nights. I couldn't look in the mirror and admit it. I couldn't. But then I had to. And that was the first step. And then after you make that step, it's like the universe just opens up to you. All the information you need to make the change you want to make
comes to you. And
then now it's up to you to like do the work. Which is like, that's what's scary about mental health, is that it's not like a business where someone can just pass it down to you, everything done. It's like an individual thing. You have to go into your mind. And I can assist you though. I can say that is all the answers. I can give that to you.
But it might not work.
But you have to like apply it. I can't apply it for you, but I can say, hey, Louise, hey, love yourself. Hey, check out your belief systems. Hey, have good references. Hey, I can give you all this. Do you know what I mean? But you have to like adopt it and do all of that stuff. And most people don't do that part. And that's the difficult part. But I was willing to, because I saw this. I was like, the person that I need to be to complete my purpose and my mission, I have to do it. Or else I would have missed out on this part.
Yeah. That's a big thing though, isn't it? Thinking, if I don't do this, then this won't happen.
Yeah.
If I don't try that, then I may not get here to do what I really want to do.
Usain Bolt looking at that world record, knowing like, I'm only training once a week.
Yeah.
And I'm far off.
But I want to be the best and I
want to break that world record. And my coach is telling me to break that world record.
Yeah.
For you're going to have to do 4 hours, 4 days a week. Now he's got to decide, does that world record, is that really important to me for me to do these 4 hours, 4 days a week? Do I really want that? What happens when I get that work? Is it going to satisfy me? Because he's just laid out the work I got to do. And like, I guess it did satisfy him because like, he's a legend forever, for eternity. So it was worth it. And like, same with me. I was like, the work I have to put in to be a better person, and like, is it worth it? And I was like, yeah, because like, you potentially could inspire a whole generation. Like, I looked at that and I was like, and I looked at the Bob Marley title. I was like, the way he inspired a generation, you can do the same shit. People will be talking about you years to come. Like, yeah, I remember. I had Shocka on my show.
Yeah.
Oh, you met Shocka? Really? What was he like? Yeah, he was cool. It was just, look, this is the picture. And this is.
Yeah.
Oh, mum was really young then. Do you know what I mean? Like, I looked into the future and I saw that.
So the self-love was worth it.
It was all worth it.
Yeah.
It was all worth it.
Even though at the time you couldn't.
And I'm not even there yet, but like, I'm seeing glimpses of it. At the time, I couldn't see anything. So I was just, projecting in. But now you can imagine how hungry I am now. That I'm seeing like the benefits. It's like when you start gym.
Yes.
And then you start seeing the progress.
Yeah.
It turns you into a monster. You know what I mean? Like that 2 days a week, like I'm there every day now. I can see it. Before that you're going, but you're like, is anything happening?
Yeah.
That's how it was for me. I was like doing all these podcasts and like telling my story, going everywhere. And I was like, and I was broke. And I was like, why am I doing this again? Is it worth it? And then something happened. I got the TED Talk and then anyway, it's all there. And then shit just started changing.
I'm going to start asking myself that question. Is it worth it? And what do I want from it? And then I'm going to view it.
What do you want is so important.
Yeah.
That's the most important question.
What do you want? Do you remember the first time you actually spoke about being sectioned? The first ever talk you did to someone? That is a good question. What was the first talk
Oh, Amaro Don.
Okay.
Do you know Amaro Don TV?
Yes.
Yes, Amaro Don TV. That was the first interview, and I always wanted to get interviewed by him because I was a fan of his work. Because like he was like in depth and like he asked good questions, and he's like you. He takes his time to like research your story, and I was like, if there's anyone I want to do an interview with, it's him. And he reached out to me when my EP came out. I think he listened to it and he realized that how much of my life I was like pouring into the EP.
Yep.
And then he hit me up, and that was the first interview I did. And then the response from that, that just set me off. Because I was a bit nervous about how people gonna, but everyone took to it. And then I got more interviews, and then that's how the journey started.
So that interview was the catalyst.
Yeah, it was Amaro Don, big up Amaro Don. That was the first one.
How did you feel sitting there talking about being sectioned for the first time with someone you didn't know on a platform? I'm making it sound scary deliberately.
Yeah, no.
Like
It weren't that scary though. It weren't that scary because by that time I had already done the work and you know, accepted it as well. But I remember, do you know what I do remember? Now you're just bringing back memories. I remember going through like my journey in my head the day before. I couldn't sleep.
Yeah.
I remember going through like, oh my God, what if he asks me about this? Or like, are you ready to answer that? And like, I remember that. I do remember that though.
Yeah.
The day before, I remember that. I remember going through it in my head, like, oh my God, I'm really about to do a proper interview, my first one since the Marvel breakup, and like,
okay, yeah,
I do remember that.
So to quote you, you're on the right path doing God's work.
Yes.
What reaffirms that for you?
Oh God, my faith in God right now is so strong. And it can't be penetrated because I've seen... Can you imagine... Let me just put it like this to you. Can you imagine being a kid at like 15, praying, saying, I want to help. One day I want my life to help and just be of service and do your work. 15. And then can you imagine 36 now and everything you just listed, like the TED Talks and the awards and the ITV and it's like that really came true.
How can you
Someone
not believe?
heard? How can you not? Yeah. For me, no one can convince me.
Yeah,
no one can unconvince me. How can you not? Like, I wake up every morning, I'm like, oh my God, that prayer got answered. That is frightening. Like something heard me. That's frightening to me. Like, I was so clear as well. I was so clear. I said, how can I help in a positive way? It was so clear. And then I'm helping. I'm doing the work. I'm in it. I'm walking in it. Like, every day, something new comes into my email. My manager will be like, these people just... And I'm like, how did they see... Like, I can't. I think Stormzy made a song called Blinded by
Your Grace.
Grace.
Yeah.
I get that song now.
Yeah.
I was like, what's he talking about?
Yeah.
What do you mean Blinded by Your Grace? But... like now I get it. It's like there's the grace that's upon him. Like it's so much that it's blinding. Do you know what I mean? And you won't understand that until you're walking in it.
Yeah.
When you're walking in it, certain songs and certain stuff people said throughout history, you go back to it and be like, oh, I know what he means by that. Oh, I know what he means by that. Straight away, I was listening to Blinded by Your Grace and I was like, oh shit, I get it.
Get it now.
I understand.
I think even in your darkest times, your faith has still been there.
Yeah.
Maybe there was, I think, once where it was a bit hidden and you were like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
But then you surrendered yourself to God again and things started to happen and you were like, this is it. Like, I know exactly what I'm meant to be doing and where I am.
And
like,
that's why it hit me again when the fourth time, when the book idea.
Yes.
Because I knew, as soon as I came in, I was like, why am I here? What am I doing in hospital again?
You're like, yeah, I'm going to write a book. Your friend's like, what?
My auntie gave me my phone. That was the game changer. I don't know if I put that in the book. But on a visit, my auntie said, here's some food, here's your clothes, here's your phone. My mum has never given me my phone during my times of being sectioned because she didn't want me to like talk to my friends and, you know, tell the outside world what I'm doing. So she held onto my phone. My auntie don't know my mum's policy. So she said, hey, take your phone. And I took it and I didn't say nothing. I was like, oh, thank you, auntie. In my head, I'm thinking, fuck, what am I going to do? I got back to my room and that's when everything came. Since I got back to my room, write a book, take some pictures, take some videos of some patients. What if I get in trouble? Fuck it, just do it. If you get caught and they take it down, they take it down. But trust me, just do it.
Is that video you've got on Instagram of you in the hospital?
Yes,
ward,
and on TikTok,
yeah.
someone likes it every single second. I don't know how they find it, but like I check my TikTok and it's another notification. And like that's what I did. That's what was in my head. Take videos, and I took videos in the morning. And I wish I took more though. I think I was kind of scared. I was kind of holding back a bit. I did listen to the instructions, but I kind of held back a bit. I should have took way more. But like I took enough. I got what I was meant to get.
Yeah.
I got what I was meant to get, and like it got used for everything. The ITV documentary, the Everyman documentary that got premiered in the cinema, it got used for all those things. It all made good use.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, and then the poems I wrote turned into a book because
Yeah.
it wasn't a book at first. Remember, it started off as poems.
Yeah.
So it was meant to be a section of my life poem book of all. I wanted to do something like 2 packs of rose that grew from the concrete.
Okay.
I wanted to have like my thoughts that he had these thoughts and while I was in prison, just different poems. So I wanted to have my thoughts while I was sectioned. And then when I got the deal, they was like, if people read your poems and keep seeing the word sectioning, they're going to want to know what happened to you. Why does he keep mentioning that? So why don't you tell your story and put the poems at the end of each chapter? And I was like, that is genius. And then the way they did it, and then with the questions as well.
Yeah,
it just worked out.
Yeah.
And then like imagine what I said to you about you just asked me the God question about God's work, and imagine what I said to you about that, and then me being 15 saying I want to help, and then now I'm holding my book. That's insanity. It's insane to me. And my book is like, imagine, this is what's even more crazy. My book is about that prayer.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
And that journey that I'm saying, and people are reading. It's just crazy to me. So
is that like, the book idea? Is that when you felt God's power the strongest? Or
yes.
has there been
because it was so clear. Because I always used to hear people talk about downloads.
Yeah.
I always hear that thing like, oh, you can get downloads of messages, and I'm like, what are you talking about? What do you mean a down? Like, what happens? But I genuinely felt it. Like while I was in my room, I genuinely got a down. Like I genuinely got it. It was so clear. Oh, section of even the title, section. Do you know what I mean? Like
it's so clever.
That's what it just came.
Yeah.
It came so like it just came so natural. It's like section of your life, and then the poems. And I was writing a different poem every day. I was writing a different one every day, and I was showing it to Mark, and like, he was like, "That's sick," and he was encouraging me too. He was telling me like, "Make sure when I come to my shift tomorrow, you've got another one." So that will keep me on point because I'll be like, "Oh, Mark's gonna be here in the evening. Let me
finish up."
Do you know what I mean? So like, and I felt like I had to be in hospital to get it.
Yeah.
Because while I was out, I was so busy that I wouldn't have finished the book. I wouldn't have finished the book. While I was there, I had all the time. Remember I told you have nothing to do in there.
Yeah.
So that's all I was thinking about. And I didn't even think about how I'm going to get the book published.
You just wrote it.
Some people will get paralyzed by that part.
I
want to start, but who's going to publish it? And who do I go to? I had so much trust and belief that I was just like, as soon as I finish it, it's going to come. And it's true. I just sent a poem to one of my friends and I said, I'll check this out. Do you reckon you can send it to anyone? And she came back and said, this company wants to publish it. And I was like, that was like in a week. I was like, that's crazy. So like, yeah, that's how it happened.
You've been at the lowest points of your life, but that's an example of a high point that you've had during that period.
Yeah.
Do you ever feel like, I'm trying to be sensitive about this question.
No, go ahead.
Do you ever get scared that you could end up back where you were in hospital?
Yes.
Is that a fear that you have?
Yes. Everyone always asks me that.
And not because of something that you've done, but because life happens to you sometimes.
Yes.
And when things happen, like the first
thing
I
always happened to me. Like if you read the book,
it's something.
Always me. Like if you read the book, I'll be like minding my business. Yeah. And then
bam, this happens.
This
bam,
happened.
this happens.
Do you know what I mean? So like,
I always think when something bad happens, I think, how's my mental health going to cope with this?
Yeah. So what I'm trying to do now, what I'm doing now is like I'm trying to have like the best tools possible. Because I had a shake recently and I dealt with it. And it's turned me into like Superman. Because like, I was like, oh my God, my tools that I've been like, imagine you've been crafting like a tool shed, but you've never had a chance to like use it. Do you know what I mean? But you know they're good tools. And I used it and it worked. And I was like, okay, we're good. Do you know what I mean? Like I tested, like Lauryn Hill said something in her, what's that thing she did where they're all sitting around her?
Unplugged.
She said something about how she's like a crazy scientist because she tests out all her theories on herself first before she shares it to the public. And like, that's how I feel. I feel like I just tested out my tools and everything I've been preaching about. And I know it works and I know it's real. And like, so I do think about having a break, not having a breakdown, but I do think about if I could get section again. But I know I've got enough tools to like recover.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got enough tools to recover.
I think that's...
And that last sectioning showed me that. The way I kind of like turned that around.
Yeah.
I've never bounced back like that. If you check the previous sections, I've never like...
No.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
That bounce back was... That was epic, if I say that myself.
For someone who doesn't like talking about himself.
That exactly.
It was epic.
That one, because like... Think about what transpired the year after.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I didn't even have time to really recover. I got shot. I went back to that hospital like a week, 2 weeks after I came out. Remember I said in the book that Jamie, the woman I met, took me back there to like, do you know what I mean? Which is crazy. Someone said to me yesterday, did they put anything in place for you mental health wise for going back? And I was like, oh my God, you're right.
They didn't.
Because that's traumatizing.
That is traumatizing.
I'm going back into the room that, do you know what I mean? They didn't even check. And I did that. So, yeah. But it is a thought though. It does run through my mind. I try not to think about it a lot though.
I hear that. How do you explain your mental health to, one, someone who doesn't know you, and two, someone who's never struggled with their mental health before?
Jesus Christ. Nazareth. How do I explain it to someone that doesn't know me? I put up a video kind of trying to explain what paranoid schizophrenia is like. I don't know if you saw that. It was a while ago, so you might have missed it, but it was like someone wearing VR glasses. You know, they wear VR glasses and they're like, and everyone's laughing at them. Like, what is he seeing?
To them, what they're fighting is real. They're like,
that is the best way I'll explain it. It's like that.
That's
it's like
really
putting
sick.
on VR glasses and like you're looking at the person. And you know, like they pretend like they're about to fall off the edge. And you're looking at them like there's nothing there. And like,
we do.
It's exactly like that.
Yeah.
That is exactly what it's like.
That's a really good analogy.
When you snap out of it, you kind of feel dumb.
Yeah.
Because I'll go through certain conversations I had and I'll read it the right way now that I'm out of the psychosis. And I'll be like, oh, he didn't even mean that. Do you know what I mean?
But you couldn't see it at
But
the time.
when I was in the psychosis and I read it, it sounded like he was attacking me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So sadly, your mum passed away a few years ago. And her presence in the book, she did absolutely everything for you to the best of her ability to try and help you. And what does she leave with you now that she's gone? What wisdom, what thoughts, what goals does she leave with you?
She was someone that lived by example. She weren't like someone that had... I don't remember my mum sitting me down and really giving me game and wise words of wisdom. But I remember learning from watching her. Even the period that she built her house. I think I spoke about it in the book.
Yeah, you did, yeah.
Just watching how she was going to work every night. Like she would come in and then I'll see her by the door in like 10 minutes and I'm like, are you going back out?
Again.
And she's like, yeah, I've got another shift.
To pay for that house, isn't it?
Yeah, to pay for, so like I watched her like, so like the work ethic. That's one thing I took from my mum, work ethic.
I think even though there was a bit of a conflict at times with your Nigerian upbringing and your mental health, I didn't get that from your mum.
Nah, she was like proper cool.
Yeah.
My mum's like a modern, she's not like she kind of came here and got modernized.
Yeah.
Yeah, like my mum was proper cool. Even I think about it now, like, I was thinking about it the other day actually, she didn't really put pressure on me. Because like my family are like putting pressure on me at the moment to have kids and like, I'm at that stage now where like, let's get the son, let's get the kid. I'm at that stage, but like my mum never bothered me. Never put pressure on me. Even she just started to, which I spoke about in the book, when she was like, you need to get a job, and she asked my dad to tell me to get the job. She just started to. But even that, it wasn't that constant pressure, but it was like, here and there, like she was like, you know what I mean? But my mum really gave me freedom, which I'm lucky. I felt like if she had added extra pressure on top of what I was going, I probably would have proper caved in.
Yeah.
Because that at home is where you want to come and have your peace.
Yeah.
But if I was to come home to all that pressure on top of the pressure I was having outside, it would have been like scary.
I thought she was an absolute angel in the book.
No,
she
seriously.
was just. It was just so nice to hear that you had that support system from your parents, because I've experienced parents who don't understand mental health.
Yeah.
And she may not have understood it, but she tried and she was
trying
there
to get
for
me
you.
to take my medication. Yep. She came to every visit. Obviously, I'm her son, but like, do you know what I mean? She called every day. She was trying to, like, when I had my intervention teams, when they come to your house, she was present at all of them, asking questions, trying to figure out, do you know what I mean? The only thing that she couldn't get her head around was the shame part of it. Like, she still had, that's the part that, like, she still had that part of, like, don't tell no one, and, like, do you know what I mean? Don't tell no one what we're going through. And I remember when I came home after the third time I got sectioned, she was like, right, let's just forget this happened. You're back now, go and take a shower. And don't tell no one. I'll never forget it, because she's just giving me this whole, you know, that speech, the team speech. So, like, that's one thing. And my auntie said something to me that my mum never told me, but my auntie's telling me stuff now. My auntie said when they came to see me, because you know, like, a lot of Africans work in the system. One of my mum's friends was in the hospital working, and she looked at my mum and said, "What are you doing here?" And then my mum had to tell her, "My son's here," and that was difficult. You know what I mean? That must have been really, really shameful for her. And I also think about the nights that, like, she was by herself in the house, what her thought process must have been. I just started thinking about that the other day. So obviously I was alone in hospital, but she was alone at home.
Yeah.
So, like,
because
I remember when I told her I was going to do an interview, she was like, "You shouldn't." She said something about, why are you going to speak about a time that was like bad memories for me? And that's what made me think, oh, okay, so, like, why you was at home by yourself? I can imagine all the ruminating you was doing about, like, where your son is at the moment. Or imagine people calling, "Oh, how are you? Oh, what are you doing? How's my African name's Asas. How's Asas?" And I don't know if she would have lied. Or how do I know what she should have said? Oh, he's in the studio.
Yeah.
Oh, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then she might have felt bad afterwards.
Yeah.
I just said I could have. I don't know. That's what I'm saying. That's a possibility. Did she tell them? Because she was telling me not to tell no one.
Yeah.
That means there's a 90% chance that she probably told them that, like, I'm at my friend's house, so I'm away.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, like, yeah.
I think one of the sweet things in the book is that I think you were going through a breakdown and she didn't know how to help you, so she called your pastor.
Yes. Is that the first time?
Yeah. And you were on the phone to him and he was praying for you. And I just thought, oh.
Yeah.
That's just...
Yeah. That's their first protocol of dealing with anything. Even when I signed my deal, the first thing my mum did was like, "Yo, we got to call the pastor to bless the situation."
Yeah.
Which I understand. I get it now. Because, like, what she was trying to do was get God involved in your situation. But it was just through the pastor. But what she was saying is that, like, whatever you're going to do, you need a higher presence with you.
Do it with God, yeah.
Because anything can go wrong. And I understand that. I never used to get that before. Why do I need God? What's God? But now I realize, like, how anything can just go wrong and how anything can happen to you at any minute. So, like, when you see people go through a smooth journey, or you see, like, Stormzy on his 4th #1. I think he went #1 last week, and he's predicted to go #1 this Friday for 2 weeks in a row.
Yep.
When you see stuff like that, that's not just him working by himself. It looks like that physically, that it's just Stormzy going to the studio.
Yeah.
But there's assistance spiritually. There has to be. Things don't just work in line for you like that.
Yeah.
Trust me, I know people that's been slaving away for years and nothing's connecting. Do you know what I mean? Then you get someone that just comes along and, like, this is what I saw that made me realize that even more. Footage, you know the song that Stormzy went #1 with?
Yeah.
Footage came out yesterday. It wasn't even on that beat. You know the beat that went #1?
Yeah.
It was on a hip hop beat first.
Okay.
And they changed it to drum and bass.
Yeah.
But same lyrics, but changed the beat. Like, just those little adjustments.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It could have stayed on that beat. It wouldn't have been the #1.
No.
And he had no idea. because I was looking at him in the footage while he was saying the beats on the first beat, and in my head I was thinking, you have no idea that like it's about to go to a drum and bass beat and it's gonna go number one. And like, so like, yeah, there's just so much stuff about it. So I'm not trying to. I'd never try to force my belief system on anyone.
Yeah.
I'm not the kind of person that will like talk to you about God and like. I'm not like that. If you ask me about it, I'll talk to you, but I'm never that person that will come and like push it onto you.
Yeah.
But like, if you are interested in it, get that assistance. It's important, man, because this world is hard. You need, in the Christian term, they call it favor. You need favor, man. Favor opens a lot of doors.
And what legacy did your dad leave you with?
My dad is the reason why I'm such a dreamer. Even though I didn't know him, but I can just tell because he was a boxer. Coming from a Nigerian background, that is crazy. I don't even need to be present to know that. They want you to be a doctor. They want you to be an engineer. Lawyer. They want you to be... Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
For him to, out of all his family as well, he's got a big family. For him to say, I'm going to start fighting people, I know that's how they look at it as well.
Look at him like,
you want to be a boxer? Hitting people in their face? Do you know what I mean? So like, for him to like go down that path, and I used to see all the trophies when I was a kid.
Aww.
And that now I've got like trophies and stuff. That inspired me. Like, because it always made me think like, oh, was he good? Like, he must have been good to get... They don't just give trophies if you're rubbish. You know what I mean? So he must have been good at it, and like, it inspired me to want to chase my dreams. And the only thing that did scare me about his path is that he never made it.
Okay.
So that used to always scare me.
Yeah.
Because I used to always think like,
what if I don't make it?
What if I don't make it? Like, can I?
Yeah.
Is it destined for me to like, you know, hit a brick wall? That's why it's good to have success. Me and my friends call it your CV. Yeah. You know how you got a CV for work? Yeah. You've also got a spiritual CV of like, what's happened in your bloodline prior to you. So if you've had millionaires in your bloodline, you're not going to have that boundary when it comes to hitting $1 million because it's been done before. But if it hasn't, then it's going to be such a fight to like crack through that ceiling. Yeah. And that was like my biggest problem, is that like my dad never made it. And I was having all those problems. Remember getting signed and then getting just at the door and getting dropped. Yeah. That was driving me crazy. That was playing on my mind. I was like, oh my God, it's happening to me. I kept like, do you know what I mean? The group was so close. We met Drake. I was like, oh my God.
So close, but yet so far.
Yes. And I was like, this was my dad's story. Yeah. Like, he was so talented, but he didn't crack through. So like, when everything started happening, I knew like, okay, we've broken that barrier slightly.
I was going to say, I think you have. That was my mum's
part to play. Yeah. Because things didn't blow up for me until my mum passed. Yeah. Everything happened the year after. Yeah. So I know my mum went over there and said, right, let's get this straight.
She said, God, let's sit down.
Yeah, let's what do we have to do for him to cut through? So, and if there's anyone that's going to negotiate on my behalf,
it's your mum.
It's my mum. Yeah. Because if she was so protective over me on this side of things, God knows, like.
Oh.
Definitely.
I love that, man, so much. Sure. I loved reading about her in the book.
Yeah.
You have been an absolutely amazing guest.
We can speak for hours.
We could go on for another 2 hours. I've got so many more questions and so much I want to know. Yes. But for now, we've come to an end.
We've got to do a part 2.
We've got to. Yes. Where can we buy your book?
You can buy my book from Amazon, or you can DM me and get a signed copy. And I've got copies now. My DJ was getting on to me saying, how can you be an author? Because I never had no copies of my book. But now, like, I make sure I've always got some copies, so you can DM me and get a signed copy, or you can just buy it off Amazon.
And what's your Instagram?
Shocka_artist.
Okay, so
that's the only place to find me, by the way. Twitter, no. I'm there, but I don't tweet.
Not there.
TikTok, I'm there, but I don't really post. I try to, but I haven't got it yet. I ain't got the hang of it. But Instagram, I've cracked the code. I've cracked the Instagram
You have.
code.
I believe you have as well.
Yeah, I have.
So thank you so much for coming on.
It was a pleasure.
It's been an absolute journey.
Thank you.
I've been El Formosa. This has been Mental Health in Music. Keep it locked. It's Mode London.